John McDonald in here and get caught up with him right quick. Let's see here. Let me go over here and shut the door there and let me get in here. Good morning to you, sir. How are you?
Hey, what's going on, Dave?
Man, I'm just trying to make it through a show here. I've been sick all week, and these crazy guys are making me talk about lakes and rivers for 20 minutes. So anyway, yeah. So how the hell are you, man? First of all, John McDonald, welcome back to Sunday Mornings with the Tiki, man. We really appreciate you taking the time to come by and got some new music. And I was telling them earlier that this music is tied to the Chip Bell thing, right?
Yes, it is. Yeah, it was kind of the first time I ever did anything like this. But Chip and I have become friends. I did a couple songs for him over the last few years, and I'll tell you what, it was a blast because. As anybody knows, if you follow the Jake Sullivan series, which Chip has written, he just released his 24th book, Southern Cross, and we kind of did a series of joint album and CD album releases this summer. So I have read a lot of them, but I'm actually still working through them, man, and they are entertaining. And his character, Jake Sullivan, is a tropical James Bond. So
yeah.
We really, Rick Beresford, my songwriting partner, and I, we really sat down and had a ball and sunk our teeth into this, and it was a totally different way to work, but I loved it. It was a project, if you will. It's a concept.
Yeah, we've had Chip on the show. I'm a big fan of him. Of course, I write and you've got some books out there as well. So I always like to get the book authors on the show to talk about, it's kind of, I guess it's kind of like writing songs or whatever. You want to hang around other songwriters, to kind of get, kind of see what they do.
Oh, absolutely. No, we all crave like that, like creative stimulation, and I think all songwriters, have their own different ways of doing it. But yeah, you want to be around like-minded people a little bit and pick up their energy. And but man, I've been thinking of writing a book. But hey, there's a difference between a 4-minute song and a longer book. So I have admiration for you guys, who stick with it that long enough to publish something 150, 200, 300 pages, whatever it may be.
Yeah, it really does. It gets in your, and you got to carve out time for all that, and then it gets in your head, it gets in your dreams, and you just got to. I tell the hippie chick, I'm like, listen, I'm in book mode here. All right, I'm in book mode. All right, so. But anyway, the hurricane that just came through, did that affect you guys at all?
No, we evaded that one. We were over on the East Coast, Danny. I'm about 45 minutes south of Canaveral. As you probably saw if you put on the news, and this is very strange, there's a hurricane approaching from the Pacific across Mexico. So apparently around Wednesday, Florida, and we're concerned about all our friends over the Gulf Coast because they just had to deal with storm surge. Yeah. Certainly the weekend. So we're all going to be hit, and it's going to come across the state of Florida. So we're kind of, Donna and I are kind of putting our little preparation strategy into place the best we can, and it includes alcohol.
Well, one of our main sponsors here is Reef Rum, so I highly suggest you get stocked up on some Reef Rum and be safe through that whole experience.
That's some good stuff, by the way. I think I sampled that. I don't know if we were in Panama City or wherever the hell we were, but
you did, yeah.
I've had some Reef Rum, and it was delicious.
Yeah, I love it, man. So here we are. It's the end of the year is coming, and it's moving right along. I mean, you got a lot of plans between now and Key West. We mentioned earlier that. You playing at the showcase on Thursday, which we're happy to have you be a part of that. What else you got going on?
Oh man, it's just between local gigs, out of town gigs. We've had it's been a wonderful year. We just got back from California about a week ago. Did a private event and then extended the vacation. Hooked up with San Diego Parrot Heads, our friends out there. But we've been bouncing around Texas here and there. I'm actually every year I promise that I'm going to do. At least my aspiration is to do a full-length Trop Rock Christmas album.
Oh, there you go.
And I've been working on it for several years, but man, we get so busy it never quite happens. But having said that, one of my immediate creative projects is we have written a song inspired by a big event over here in Cocoa Beach called Surfing Santas. And it's a charity event. All these people, they dress up, have a party on the beach, and a lot of the surfers dress up as Santa, and they have a big surf event, and it's actually taken off. They started it like 10, 12 years ago, but now at different destinations, particularly Australia, they love this thing. So I wrote a theme song, and we're finally going to nail it completely, and we're going to have a music video to it. So that's in my agenda. We're working on that. And of course, man, I'm really looking forward to seeing you down in Key West for Trop Rock and Duval.
Yeah.
Between you and everybody else, man, there's a lot going on that I'm delightfully surprised at how much has come together, you know?
Well, you know, we that was our thing. You know, whenever me and the Minds pulled out of Key West, we decided, you know, listen, we're going to be right back here. And then Tim and Patty kind of created the Trop Rock and Duval, but we've continued on with the showcase. This will be our 8th year, and you know, we don't know how long it's going to go, but it seems to be, you know, now that we're building a pretty good audience of people that, you know, a lot of people went to Gulf Shores that first year, but a lot of people, you know, they love Key West. They had condos, they had things set up, you know, already in advance, and so they stayed, and we had a really good time. So it's worked out well for us, and I just got to think me and the Minds will eventually come back to Key West at some point.
Well, you know, it may come back to Florida, but, you know, it's funny. I kiddingly told people last year, I had a great time there. I love, you know, it's only in the last couple of years that I've really started to become familiar with the entire Panhandle and all the way over to Alabama, Mississippi, and I really do love the Gulf Coast.
Yeah.
Amazing beaches, among other things. But I kiddingly said last year, man, I never thought I would say I actually missed Key West. But, you know, and by the way, you know, as everybody knows, we lost Jimmy last year. And I just think there's something inherently attractive. As much as Key West can be chaotic, it's chaotically fun.
Yeah.
But there's no place else like it, you know. And I think I'll use the word spiritual, the vibe, the mood, the mode, whatever you want to call it. It's probably the epicenter of Trop Rock historically for a lot of obvious reasons. Well, Jimmy's based there and so associated with Florida.
That's what I always like to say. You know, Key West is where Jimmy went to find Jimmy. You know.
Yes.
And you know, now it's the Jimmy Buffett Highway. You know, so it's.
That's right, man. If you get the next if you haven't been in Florida for a while, or you get to the East Coast, you will have an opportunity to drive down the Jimmy Buffett Memorial Highway.
Yeah.
It's funny now that you mentioned that. Speaking of creativity, I was driving around, and you know, the legislation had been passed earlier this year, so we all knew it was going to change over. And I think at some point in July it officially became the Jimmy Buffett Memorial Highway. But I was just kind of driving down the road one day, and it just kind of hit me. And point being is I have a whole song concept about driving down the Jimmy Buffett Memorial Highway. Then I'm going to have to bring it. I'm going to have to crystallize it pretty soon here, you know?
Well, that's cool, man. And I think you're going to hear that pop up in a lot of songs out there, and as it should. I mean, we got to keep the party going, you know, and best way to do it is down the Jimmy Buffett Highway. So let's see here. The name of the tune is Everything Is Jake, right?
Yes, indeed. That is the so-called title cut of the brand new album, Everything's Jake. It's, you know, that was actually, that title was suggested by Chip. That title actually has a historical reference in the sense it's also a Prohibition-era term that took off. It means everything's fine, it's copacetic, it's good. So we snuck it in there, and it is the title track of the album.
Well, all right. Well, let's go ahead and play it. I'm going to put you back in the green room. We're going to play it and let everybody hear it, and then we'll come back and talk a little bit more about it. Okay?
Fabulous. Thank you.
All right, here we go. John McDonald, Everything Is Jake, the title cut off of the album here, and we're gonna give it a listen. Here we go.
Sundown sense of peace in the island breeze tonight. Smoke a little blunt, make a little love. Forget about the sharks on the high tide. There's pirates on the islands, Like a dark side on the sun, evil can run, evil can hide, but the judgment day will come. Everything's changed tonight, everything's going right in the moonlight. Somebody's got your back, and he got it in spades. Girl, when the deal goes down, you can bet your coconuts he's around to make that bust. So girl, don't be afraid, you got it made. 'Cause everything's Jake. Everything's Jake. He's a whiskey sipping bulldog sitting in the shade of a tiki hut, looking for crime, getting too high. From Miami Beach to the Caribbean, he's got a reputation for taking the law in his own hands, fighting all vice, fire with fire. Mama, tell your daughter she's safe. Everything's Jake tonight, everything's going right in the moonlight. Somebody's got your back, and he got it in spades. Girl, when the deal goes down, you can bet your coconuts he's around to make that bust. So girl, don't be afraid, you got it made. Everything's Jake. Everything's Jake. He's the gumshoe behind the sand dune when the cartels come ashore. While you're Singapore slinging, he's making a sting, sipping Tullamore. So don't you worry anymore, 'cause everything's Jake tonight, everything's going right in the moonlight. Somebody's got your back, and he got it in spades. Girl, when the deal goes down, you can bet your coconuts he's around to make that bust. So girl, don't be afraid, you got it made. 'Cause everything's Jake. Everything's Jake. Everything's Jake tonight. Everything's Jake.
And the crowd goes wild.
Hey!
Yeah, there we go. So everything is Jake, and that is the title cut off of the brand new album. Is it out now, or it's not out now, right?
Yeah, it is. We
Okay.
released it in the spring, Danny. So it's out.
Okay, sorry about that. I'm a little bit under the weather, so I'm dragging a little bit today.
Yeah, hello. We all are.
Yeah, and that coincides with the new book out from Chip Bells. And like I said earlier, I'm a big fan of his, and I've got a lot of his books, and he just keeps turning them out, you know.
Oh yeah, no, it's a labor of love for him. It's an avocation. You know, Chip is a trial attorney by profession, but you know, he bumped into Jimmy Buffett on a lark, 12, 13 years ago, and had an exchange. And was saying to Jimmy, man, I love your stories, love your music, but you're a great storyteller. And I think Chip expressed, I wish I could be more creative. And Jimmy basically said, hey, write your own damn stories. And within a year, he launched his entire Jake Sullivan series. So if you like tropical stories and you kind of like that intrigue kind of thing and fighting cartels, it's right up your alley.
You know, I've been fortunate enough to over the last few years to watch you evolve as well, and it just seems to me like you're getting more and more in tune with everything that you're doing. And the album itself, do you have a lot of other people working on it, or are you doing a lot of it, or how's that going?
Well, I have a team of people basically. Hey, listen, I'm not an accomplished producer by any means, but my primary songwriting collaborator is a good friend of mine up in Nashville, Rick Beresford. We collaborate on a lot on the songs. I actually, where I am here in Melbourne, Florida, I followed my drummer from Pennsylvania, Kevin, down here. So Kevin's got a great studio. He's kind of my vocal audio engineer. We work, and then we have a really through Rick, we have a couple of really good people in Nashville. So it's kind of we're throwing files back and forth, and it's kind of a long distance thing. So which is, as a musician, you can work that way now. It doesn't. You could be in South America, or you could be in New York and Nashville, and you can work with people, and you can collaborate. And so I record vocals in Florida, and a lot of the instrumentation is done in Nashville. We have a couple of specialists, but it takes several talented people, to put out something,
Yeah, and it does take a team of people to surround yourself with, and so it's really sounding good, man. It's really coming. The quality has become better and better. Not that it was bad or by no means, but I can tell a difference because I'm listening to it differently, with headphones and stuff, and I can tell a lot of difference in it. So, good job, great job with what you got going on.
Thank you, brother. Really appreciate it.
Yeah.
And by the way, I would say, I've been following Trop Rock a long time, and I've been in Florida, I don't know, about 6 years, but unless I'm wrong, as I'm listening to a lot of the other artists, I just personally think the songwriting, the production value has gotten better, and it seems to be elevating to me. So
I think you're right about that, and I also think that as bad as it was with the passing of Jimmy, the torch has been passed. So now the expectation is not only to keep the party going, but to do it with quality. And you can really tell a difference that everybody's kind of fine-tuning their craft a little bit.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I think everybody, even, I chatted with Jesse Rice recently up in Jacksonville, and, he kind of conveyed to me in so many words. He said, hey, man, I don't want to rest on what I did 10, 20 years ago. I want to keep getting better. And I think that's true with everybody, particularly if you're really an artist and you want to put something out, your name is on it. But, frankly, with me, it inspires me to listen to a lot of the other artists, in the genre. And it's a do-it-yourself genre. Anybody who wants can take a shot and submit and come in,
Sure. Yeah. And Jesse is definitely one that has crafted the art of appeasing Nashville and working with different songwriters and things in Nashville. And he's got his pirate sessions, and that's his Trop Rock thing that he does.
Yeah, right.
And it's really good, really good.
Yeah, it's just like I said, across the board, Danny. I think, and I made it a point. All the TRMA submissions. I'm still going through the albums. It's a lot of music that's submitted, but we're down to the final categories, as you know. So
yeah,
I listen to everything and everybody, and I'm really impressed across the board. Even the videos. I mean, when I started doing videos a few years ago, and I'm thinking maybe I don't know, there were like 8, 9, 10 videos submitted this year. I don't have the note in front of me, but it's got to be 20 or more music videos, and I look, and particularly the finalists. The production, it's really good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a natural. I mean, the radio station here has been around. I've been doing radio for 10 years. And, you go back, you used to come back from Key West with a bag full of CDs that everybody would give you, And then we kind of went through that transitional period there where everybody didn't know what the hell to do. So they were putting them on cards. And I think I even had you give me a thumb drive flash card one time.
That's right.
Yeah. So, and then with COVID, whenever that happened, then all of a sudden everybody figures out, well, listen, I got to get out there. I can't do gigs. I got to figure out how to do this video thing, which turns into videos. So it's a natural progression of never resting and always moving forward with and really, the videos, the reels, the attention span. That's the problem. Is the attention span is getting shorter and shorter and shorter. People.
We get so much information thrown at us now.
Yeah.
That's half the battle. You're always competing for people's time, attention, and money, frankly.
Yeah. So you put out some long video, And I've had to learn how to do reels and things, with our sponsors, because I want to get our sponsors out there, make them quick and entertaining. But that's the next challenge, is that the attention span is so small, how to fit into that few seconds where people are just scrolling through their phone, It's crazy.
Oh my God, you can never know enough, man. I'm way behind in my DAW, my digital audio workstation. I got software here, and I've always been behind the tech curve, but I'm learning more and more, and it's helping my creative process,
Now, are you going down to Gulf Shores? Are you playing down there this year?
Yeah, no, I'm not, but I am going to be doing dates with you guys down at Trop Rock in Duval, you know?
Yeah.
So, and I'm looking forward to it. We got a lot going on, a lot of good musicians, and hey, there's going to be a lot of people hightailing it from Alabama all the way down to Florida, and God willing, we're going to get through this hurricane again. But I'm looking forward to your songwriting showcase at Dirty Harry's, I believe, right?
That's right. Yeah, Dirty Harry's.
Dirty Harry's and Rick's, that big complex there. So.
That's right. And we have the private rooms upstairs, the ready rooms. That's something you might want to think about into the future, too, maybe next year.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, because, those are private rooms, so you get 2 hours up there. You sell the tickets, and you make the money, and it's a private room, holds about 25, 30 people. It's a good way to make money in Key West. Got a private bar and everything's nice, air conditioning. I always relate to the sailboat cruises, right? I'm like, the good thing about our room is it never leaves port. It doesn't matter if it rains or not.
That's a great idea, because part of the challenge at Key West is it's expensive, and the artists, one of the arguments to leave Key West was because the artists had a hard time making money.
Yeah.
We all have a hard time making money, but if there were more opportunities like that, I think it would be really helpful to a lot of the singer-songwriters.
And after been doing this for 10 years, radio stations didn't make money when they went down either, but it was kind of like a meet and greet. Or if you're new into Trop Rock, then you got to go to Key West. You got to figure a way to get there, because you're going to run into people, and you're going to put these faces and names together, and you're going to make contacts. And so don't worry about playing. Somebody's going to ask you to get up on stage or whatever your first time down. So it was more or less, the big thing at the end of the year with me and the Muns, you got to go if you really want to break through into this genre and get your name out there. And then the second year, you would come back and you'd have some gigs here, there, whatever, and so on and so on. And so it was never about making money in Key West even 10 years ago.
Yeah. No, you're right. You had to be there. And I'll tell you what, nothing replaces, from my point of view, nothing replaces meeting people, meeting fans, and the other artists. I mean, I love to hang around with some of the other artists and singer-songwriters and musicians. But, obviously, in social media, it's one thing to see a name, but until you, they used to use the cliche, press the flesh,
That's right.
When you meet people in person, you get more of the essence of somebody as an artist, for example, and nothing replaces that.
I hear you, man. Well, I can't wait to get down to Key West and see you, man, and have some fun. And it's always like a big family reunion for me. You're always kind enough to come by Panama City by the tent and say hi and all that stuff, so we're looking forward to it. You sent me another tune on the dark side.
Yeah, so that's one of the new songs off the brand new album. So it's very hard to write an album about a tropical James Bond, a guy like Jake Sullivan, and write all happy songs. So, we wanted to have a little bit of balance. I think, and I'm hoping that people enjoy it. It's a fun album. But you got to get a couple of dark songs in there, because, again, you're talking somebody who's fighting evil, fighting crime. And
that's right.
The whole hook, Chip's hook kind of in his particular series is, hey, it's appearance versus reality. You got Florida, you got the Caribbean, you got the fun, the sun, the games, the palm trees. But, hey, man, it's not all fun and games.
Yeah, this is work, man. This is work. Well, before we let you go, because we're going to play this as we let you go, but tell everybody where they can buy the album, where they can buy all your music, where they can follow you, where they can see you, all that sort of thing.
Well, terrific. Well, thank you. Yeah, obviously, the obvious thing is I have a website, and it's johnmcdonaldmusic.com. And I actually, frankly, in recent years, I've started selling my new albums on the website because I make a lot more money.
Well, it's interesting you say that, because that's what we always do. Tell people to buy the music directly from you. It may cost you a little more, but who knows? You might get one autographed, you might get a sticker or whatever, and that's the point, to support you guys.
But I will say this. So I'm also available on, Spotify, Pandora, Apple, iTunes Music, all the different streaming services. We all distribute now through them. And I will say, man, a lot of people listen to this album online, which is good.
Yeah.
Forget the money. It's gratifying. You want to get the music out there. You want to connect with people. At least I do as an artist. So, and it's really interesting for me. Every couple of weeks I'll go on Apple, and it's like I'm surprised at like the top 5 songs people are listening to. It's like you never know what people are gonna like,
So is that's interesting? Real quick, so do you judge like an album or a song or whatever by those?
You can if you want to take a look, you can track down. I use an aggregator called TuneCore now, and they will send you statistics. But if you go on iTunes, if you put your name in, if I go under John McDonald and find my artist info, it'll indicate what songs are getting played. And what's kind of interesting recently, the kind of the few dark songs on the album are getting a lot of listeners, for what it's worth on the streaming services, so I'm still way behind the tech curve. So,
no, I think that's incredibly interesting that you can get kind of instant feedback based off of people that are doing that.
Yeah, you can get some. So, listen, at the end of the day, I compete against myself. I push my creative limits, and I want to see everybody do well. And I try to, when we go out and we travel on the road or play in Florida, I try to educate people and encourage them about Trop Rock. And we have a really fun subgenre here, and if you find it, it's very gratifying. It's real. I call it, in the last year and a half, Danny, I tell people it's real music for real people.
Yeah. Well, and I think you have to educate if you're playing in a place you've never played in before, or even if you played there a lot. Jonas Lawrence, I always give him credit for, sometime during this show, he'll ask the crowd, where are you listening to our music at? And they say, well, we listen to you on Margaritaville. He's like, no, you don't. Here's a list of radio stations that you can listen to our music all the time. And so and then that way we're growing the genre, right? We're growing the genre of not just his music or your music, but everybody's music.
That's right. I think cooperation, building synergy, for lack of a better term, that really is what elevates everybody, I believe.
Sure. Yeah.
I can tell you real quickly that in my side of Florida over here, well, we know Trop Rock, the home of Trop Rock is, originally Key West, but the real main focus of it is the Gulf Coast, Florida. Now, I'm over in the East Coast. I'm a little bit south of Cocoa. But I can tell you in the last few years, I've been playing out, and we have a wonderful Parenthood Club here. They're very supportive, the Space Coast Club. Yeah. But it's getting to the point now where even my local gigs and various resort gigs on the Intercoastal and on the ocean, I can do a hybrid gig now. I can often play a lot of my own original tunes. And when I started playing here 5 years ago, a lot of the GMs and clubs, they were a little bit ambivalent about that. But they see there's people, there's locals, and there's also, obviously, we get a lot of tourists, both sides of Florida. But, I could throw in some Jimmy songs. I could throw some of my stuff, some classic rock. And I love to be able to mix it up and, as a performing songwriter at those kind of venues.
Yeah.
Again, they're not house concerts, so you've got to entertain people and keep them. But it's really cool. I play these hybrid gigs now where I'm doing a lot of my own stuff, and it works.
I used to stop on my way to Key West and do shows at the Squid Lips down there. And Highway 1, that was their Highway 1 band was that was their place. And Joel and his wife would say, "Hey, come by and we'll take care of you." And we'd do the show right there, and had a great time. I love that place down there.
Oh yeah, Squid Lips, Melbourne, Squid Lips, Cocoa. There's a third one in Sebastian. I played Cocoa in Melbourne, and Highway 1 still does, and they had that Parrot Head night on Sunday for many years. That's how I met my significant other.
Yeah. Well, buddy, I could talk to you forever, but we got to get on with the show, and we're going to play this song. Thank you for taking the time to be here. We'll see you down in Key West, and we're going to play this song here on the dark side off of the new album, Everything is Jake, with John McDonald. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Danny. See you soon at Key West.
All right, buddy. We'll see you.
Got a little Captain Kidd, Jimmy Buffett runs in our veins. We all like a little dark mystique, crawling through the midnight Everglades. We all want to read the tropic wind, to know who's gonna bring the heat. Take a little risk that the ride might end in tragedy. Don't be afraid, dig into your fear to find. Way down deep, there's a renegade shaker inside. There's a dark and dock and a parking lot where a sinister outcome waits. On the wild side, on the dark side of the Sunshine State. There's an Okefenokee alligator hidden in your darkest dream, while you're looking for the drop zone in the mangroves and the manatees. You can read the room like a Sullivan book. There's a shark in a clever disguise, looking for a mark, and you just might be the next to die. Don't be afraid, dig into your fear to find. Way down deep, there's a renegade shaker inside. There's a debt to pay in the Everglades, where a shadow steals your fate. On the wild side, on the dark side of the Sunshine State. To solve that Tallahassee overdose, there's gonna be blood where the darkness goes. But everybody knows, you know, we're that midnight Okeechobee contraband will come ashore. Inside, there's an alleyway next to Lemon Bay and a truck with trooper plates. On the wild side, on the dark side of the Sunshine State, of the Sunshine State, of the Sunshine State. The Sunshine State.